welcome back. I know, how many videos can you have of me? OMG. Anyways, it's a vocational moment, and rather than going out and finding content about genealogy research, I thought I'd just tell you a little bit more about my family, because it's interesting. So, my family, my grandfather, my maternal grandfather's family, the Griffiths, and the Kennys came over with around the same time as the Mayflower, and they settled in upstate New York. My maternal grandmother's family came over around 1700, so they fled Europe because of religious persecution, and they came over and settled originally in Virginia. And they were living in Virginia close to the North Carolina border for many, many, many years. And then the Revolution hit. And when one of my ancestors, James Denny, who was married to Esther Denny, James fought in the Revolution. And he and Esther had quite a few kids. But being a good Irish family, the Dennys all named their kids the same. So each generation had a Sam and a James and a William, lots of Williams. And so kids were named the same. So after the Revolution, land was given out to the patriots who fought in the Revolution, and James got land in Kentucky. So he moved out to Kentucky, and in my research we found that actually Kentucky was maybe part of Virginia for a while, that the borders were shifting a lot during that time, so it's really difficult to trace family. I almost have to probably move over there for a while to do any deep genealogy research, because I'd actually have to go to the location where my family lived. But they moved to Kentucky and settled near Monticello, Kentucky. But William, his son, James and Esther's son, moved to Tennessee, to Van Buren County, which was also White County, Tennessee. He actually never really moved. The borders just kept shifting around him. And we have had real difficulty linking James and William, because prior to the Revolution, our ancestors, most ancestors, didn't keep records. And of course, my family is not really the luminary type. There's a lot of, well, they're Dennys. So, anyways, there's not a lot of research on them, and there are a lot of relatives. But what's fascinating about the research that my mom and I have done on her family is the number of cousins and relatives that we have met along the way. Long lost relatives. And I think my favorite story is years ago, my grandmother, she has the Denny Bible. And so years ago, she wanted to have some work done on it and preserve it and clean it. I'm not sure exactly what. So she shipped it off to this company that did a great job that would preserve this old Bible that she had. And she got the Bible back, and her and my mom were going through the Bible, and my grandmother's like, this just doesn't seem right. And my mom's like, I don't know. And my grandmother's like, it's just not quite right. But, whatever, it's the Denny Bible, and what could be wrong with it? Maybe she just wasn't remembering it correctly. I think that's what she thought. Anyways, years later, and I'm not sure how the link happened, but years later, they found another side of the Denny family, and I think it had to do with the Bible, because the Bible that this other branch of the Denny family received, and they were up in Oregon, up in northeastern Oregon, that particular Bible was our Bible, and we had their Bible. And so, of course, my mom had to make arrangements, and they transferred the Bible. But I love that story because the long-lost Denny cousins, and they got together, and I think it's just a cool story. So genealogy is really interesting to research, and I think that as we move into the meeting and the content of the main part of the meeting, that you'll understand why my mom decided that it was time to start growingupanchorage.com. Anyways, I will see you in a few.